we are going to jump right to the questions. If you have a question, enter it now into the question box or the chat box. Question 1. For CPIA, does CMS clarify how many of what percentage of your 10 must be practicing in a PCMH practice to receive 100% of the CPIA score?
No, as I said, in 2017, you do not have to show any threshold of providers who are participating. So if you have one practice site out of 10 that is PCMH certified, you can still list PCMH. I am sure that will change after 2017, but for 2017, you'd be okay.
How do we get our Qrur report for the organizational staff? There's a system called the EIDM system. If you just query, go to Google and type, how do I get my Qrur report? You'll find that you log in, you set up the account in EIDM, and then you'll log into the CMS portal. To the individual who submitted that question, I'll send you an email with all the links.
I was going to say, Scott has a wonderful email that explains all that, so that I think would be the most helpful.
If they aren't requiring social workers to report, why are they sending out notifications of reductions in reimbursement for not reporting or meeting the minimum? That's what we talked about today was MIPS in 2017. Many of those staff have been subject to PQRS, and the PQRS is
not social workers.
Not
social workers. If you're getting anything about social worker, you better be appealing that, because part of the PQRS program is who's required to report. And you want to watch that to make sure that they've drawn the correct providers.
This one is kind of more of a statement. For your example of getting evidence of the diabetic eye exam from the eye care provider, it does include optometrists as well as ophthalmologists. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. I guess I was thinking of ophthalmologists only because it's a diabetic exam, but there's absolutely no reason that you'd have to limit that to getting it from the ophthalmologist. Thanks a lot for clarifying that.
Where can we find the most accurate and helpful quality measure chart for MIPS? Has CMS published one already? Yes, it was one of those tables that was included in the handouts today. What we did is it's one of the appendices in those 2,300 pages. I don't remember exactly which one it was.
Yeah, when we send it to you, Cathy's got them broken out by specific charts. So the two that you want to be looking at is the chart for the individual measures and then the chart for the specialty-specific measures. And those would be the two that you'd most be interested in. And they just track through. I found them very easy to use and very, very helpful.
Any thoughts on group reporting for ECs using different EMRs, especially when it comes to assuring that all patients' data is included in the quality report? The only way to do that, you need a registry.
Talk to your registry. As I said, we'll include that as our January, part of our January webinar. But if you've never used it, I think you need to at least begin to think about it, especially if you have to report for a whole 10 and they are on different systems.
Yeah, it's really that they're probably the only groups that you're going to be able to have as a data aggregator in that point, or in that specific example. Will GPro web reporting still be available and only cover patients selected by CMS? Yeah.
Okay, well, different terminology here. Yeah. The traditional GPro is being replaced by the group quality reporting under MIPS. But I think what you're referring to is the group reporting through the CMS web interface, where CMS gives you the list of patients that you need to provide information on. And it's either 248 if you're a large group or 100 if you're a smaller group. And that will still be available. And you will have to pre-register for that because they have to pull the list of patients for you.
Can you send us the exact text or location that indicates the entire group will meet the CPIA activity if only one member is doing the CPIA activity, specifically the PCMH?
I will find it and make sure that I quote it and give you the page for it, okay?
Is electronic acceptance of a transition of care patient record required under MIPS for 2016? The QPP website seems to indicate yes, while we have understood this as a stage 3 requirement for 2018.
For 2016 reporting, the electronic transition of care You're only measured going out, and you're exempted if you have less than 100 referrals or transitions. In 2017, you are absolutely correct. That is only a stage 3. The ability to receive it back in is stage 3. So if you're doing the transitional stage 2, it is not covered. But if you are doing the full stage 3, it is covered. It is a covered measure, and furthermore, it is part of the base measure.
You said CPIA is a yes/no. What is the frequency? Is it each month? No, it's you're going to
say it has to be at least 3 months.
Yeah, at least 3 months. It's an activity you do for 3 months. Please comment on documentation for yes/no attestation questions as it relates to potential audits. Heck, yes, there are potential audits. You should demonstrate for any yes/no attestation. You want to have a narrative of the activities. You want to have reports or screenshots or data to support that yes/no. We are hoping to see the audit protocol. It's probably not going to come out until at least mid-year. When we see the audit protocol, we can make a more succinct recommendation on what the documentation would be, but don't throw anything away related to that CPIA activity. Write it down.
If it has to do with your provider's certification, keep a copy of that. Get copies of all their certification for specialty groups. If it has to do with functionality, take screenshots. If it has to do with workflow, develop a narrative about it.
We'll be able to listen to the presentation again, absolutely. In the next couple of days, I'll get it uploaded to Clinisync YouTube channel.
And then we already answered that. Yeah. Next one.
Yeah, okay. Let me check.
On the QPP website, ACI.
Okay, on the QPP website for 2017 MIPS, for ACI, it says the request accept summary of care is required only if you have the option to report stage 3.
Let's go back.
Let me close this window down here.
Hold on. This is our last question, so there it is, right there. Okay, this was stage 2. You see, it has the electronic summary of care sent. That's the traditional one that you have the exclusion if you're under 100 referrals. But then look at the next slide. This is if it's stage 3. And you pick up that in the middle of the page under the health information exchange, you've got the electronic summary of care sent out, and you have no exclusion there. Whoops.
Sorry.
And then you have to be able to request or accept, so you have to either query or retrieve the record and the patient's discrete data, and that is part of the base score for stage 3, but not stage 2. There's an exception for that in the transition.
All right, let me just check the chat box real quick. No questions there. So with that, we would like to thank everybody for attending today. Try to get to our last page. Everybody probably has our contact information, but if you do have any questions, by all means, any point in time, send us an email, give us a call, we'll help you out.
Yeah, and we're repeating this on Monday. I think Monday at 4 or so. So we will check on that one that Steve had been asking about on the one person for a whole group, and include that on Monday, but we'll also include it on our information about the webinars.
Thank you so much for attending today, and we will talk to you later.
Everyone have a great weekend.